Thian Tharzan de Vries has a 100% win rate. He has 32 fights, 32 wins, and 29 of them by KO. So today we are going to break down his complete style, how he manages to knock people out, and how you can implement what he's doing into your own fights. So now let's first look at the striking and the tricks and techniques that he's using. Now the first thing is the kick to punch. Now he uses that in 2 fights, okay? It's a bit like reverse Leon Edwards, where he's throwing the jab and then the kick, but he's throwing the kick first and then the jab, okay? He's using that off the same side. You can definitely get power with this. Now again, what he's doing is he's not turning fully with the kick, he's just tapping a bit with the kick. It's not the most powerful kick, but then the jab is coming from up top, really hard for opponents to see that and really hard for opponents to block that when it comes from the same beat, okay? It cannot be kick and then punch, it needs to be kick punch on the same beat to really hurt them, okay? And believe me bro, when the jab lands here on the chin and so on, guys, it hurts. Now the next thing is a hand pull. Now a hand pull is something that is not utilized very often, but it is so effective. What you're basically doing with the hand pull is you're exposing your opponent. You create openings on your opponent. And what you can basically do is, first of all, don't pull from the side when you pull the hand down. Pull not from the side, pull from up top, okay? You cannot really pull the hand from the side, you need to pull from up top with your glove. But pull from up top, pull the hand down, and then just fire a hook in, okay? We see Tarzan de Vries using this in his fights. It's really effective when people are on the ropes. You're just firing on them, maybe they're even hurt. You just fire on them, then you pull the hand and you just fire the shot in. Or you're mid-combination. You may be a bit defensively, you pull the hand, okay? Really effective. And when your opponents don't really recognize this, a lot of people don't know what this is. A lot of people are not used to this. Then you can land that more often until they recognize. Now the Gazelle hook is also a technique that Tarzan de Vries uses sometimes. A Gazelle hook is simply you dip down and then you explode forward. That allows you to close distance fast and also hurt your opponents whilst you're doing this, okay? You just explode forward, some people react, some people like twitch, even when you explode forward in the amateur level most of the time. But it's just effective to close the distance fast. And a lot of people, again, are not used to a Gazelle hook. A lot of people are not used when you just rush forward with that hook. Now, we also saw in one fight the flying knee to back fist, okay? And believe me, bro, this knockout was brutal, okay? It was against Yasin Gurin. Now, Yasin Gurin was Tarzan de Vries is a fight that you need to watch, bro. It's like Tarzan de Vries gets knocked out in the first round or knocked down, and then he stands up and just knocks him down 4 times even. The third time was not really counted, but 4 times it was brutal, guys. So what he simply did with that KO was through the flying knee, and then he instantly transitioned into a spinning back fist. And what you can learn from this is simply transition techniques together, okay? When you miss your kick, maybe transition into a back fist. When you land your flying knee, but you also land again, then you can maybe throw a back fist after it, okay? It makes it hard for opponents when they think your attack is over. Oh, their flying knee is over. I rush in now. Oh no, now I have a back fist in my head. Oh, in my head, not, but on my head, you know? Now, Thian de Vries also landed another back fist knockout. And back fists are, in my opinion, really effective when people rush in. I land them more when people rush in. And from all the fights that I watched, most of the time back fist knockouts happen when people rush in, okay? I analyzed a lot of fights, and when people land a back fist, it's most of the time when they rush in. Now in this fight, we see after his opponent slipped back, he rushes in. And Thian de Vries reads that and throws out the perfect spinning back fist, knocking him down to the canvas and landing that KO. Again, guys, you can land a back fist KO when people rush in. It's probably the most effective time because, again, people are exposed when they maybe throw and then they don't expect, they are not on the defense side and they don't think about a back fist, okay? Now, Thian likes also keeping people in the corner, okay? We see a lot of calf kicks land when they are on the corner, and we are going to break the calf kicks down in a second really deeply. Also his techniques and how he's setting them up. But Thian de Vries likes having people sometimes in the corner. And now how he keeps them sometimes there is when they want to go out, he just simply uses a push kick or a teep, okay? And he just sometimes keeps them with the teep on the ropes. Now guys, in my first fight, I didn't listen to my coach that much. I don't even know if I heard my coach in that fight. You know, it was just the first fight. I was in the ring and I just thought, man, what is this? And then I fought. And I don't know that I heard anything. I cannot remember anything that my coach said in that fight. But what you see elite people do is when a coach says kick, they kick. When a coach says knee, they knee. Because your coach knows he's outside. He's not in the ring. He has a more clear vision. He knows better than you sometimes. And so when your coach says something, listen, do it, okay? You can drill that in sparring. maybe tell your coach that he should say something to you that you can train that before the fight, okay? So you can hear that without looking at him. So you're just in sparring and your coach says knee, you knee, okay? You train that in sparring before you're in the fight. And we see that in a fight, his coach said knee and then he just threw that knee out. So it is really, really important, and is sometimes the success of a lot of fighters is how good their coaches are and also how good they listen to their coaches in fight. Now let's talk about his calf kick. His calf kick is a technique that knocked down so many people, and I don't want to experience his calf kick. I never in my life want to experience his calf kick. So now let's first talk about his technique. So first of all, he doesn't throw with a lot of twist. We see his foot rotating just a bit, but not that much. We don't want to rotate too much on a calf kick, as well it comes from a sideward up angle, okay, and hits the upper part of the calf where you want to normally hit, okay? So it hits the upper part of the calf and it comes from a sideways up angle, okay? And now how he's setting it up is sometimes just raw, okay? In the first round, in the second round and so on. He's just using that in the first round, seeing how his opponent react, okay? Basically in a fight, you throw in the first round, you just throw some techniques out. You maybe throw raw leg kicks. You maybe throw raw body kicks. You see how your opponents react, if they block, if they don't block, okay? You can draw leg kick out, oh, they didn't block. You can draw leg kick out again, oh, they didn't block again. And maybe then the third time they block, and then you can again captivate on that, feint the kick, and then, you know, one setup that we see a lot of times for the calf kick is really basic, but knocked some people down, and that is the jab to calf kick. He jabs, and now most of the time his opponent moved a bit back and are a bit like weird, have a weird stance, okay? You know, he just moves back and he's in a weird stance, and then Thian de Vries just kicks him on the leg. So now let's talk about his flying knee. Now, his flying knee is also a technique again that we talked about earlier. He used that again to set up a back fist. One thing is, for example, when people are hurt, Tarzan de Vries likes throwing that flying knee. You see people getting hurt, you see him like landing a good hook or something, they're a bit wobbly, and then he just wants to grab them, you know, he just grabs them on the head and then rushes in and tries to throw that flying knee whilst they are moving back and being a bit hurt, okay? He really likes using that in his fights. We see that in a lot of fights. When people are hurt, he just rushes in and wants to throw that flying knee out. People are moving back, he just explodes in with that flying knee. Also, let's talk about his basic knee for a second. He used that in a fight in Dubai. He just jabs to the head. Again, we see him using basic setups. We see him using basic setups that just work. He jabs to the head and then throws to the body with the knee, okay? Closing distance while doing this. Closing distance on the jab, closing distance on the knee. And then he just throws the simple jab. His opponent is like this, shelling up, and then he's just throwing that knee out and knocks him down on the ribs, guys. Because again, bro, you don't need the most craziest setups. Sometimes the basic just works, guys. And we see that again, Tarzan de Vries, 29 KOs. Yeah. Now, head movement and footwork is also something that Tarzan de Vries is not that bad at. Also his defense. Now, first of all, we see him using a pull counter, okay? Shot is coming, he slips back and then comes back with a shot and lands that again a lot of times, okay? Counters are important, guys. I said it in all of my videos. Counters are important, guys. Counters sometimes win fights. They get you the points back. It frustrates people and it knocks people out because a lot of people are exposed when they throw, and so you can knock more people out with counters. So guys, counter more. Now, he's also using something that I called a silent switch kick. Now, a switch is loud, okay? It's telegraphing sometimes. Now, what you can do with a switch is use a double switch, like Nong-O sometimes, to confuse opponents. But what Tarzan de Vries is doing, he's using the silent switch kick, what means it's like Haggerty. He's not really switching. He's just, it's kind of like he's rotating his hips, but putting his back foot forward, you know? That's it, okay? You just see that now on the screen. He's just rotating his hips and then just putting his front foot forward and then throwing that kick out. Not really just winding up that much. You don't see that. You don't see that coming that much, okay? And then he just has his power foot, bam, and then he, yeah, knocks you down. So guys, I'll see you back soon, guys. My community, my paid community is coming out soon. And also, we have a lot more to talk about, a lot of more breakdowns coming soon, Haggerty, all of them. So I see you back soon. We have as well Rotain coming up and so on. So I see you back.